we added these two new modules, stabilizer and impact, and then we wanted to add some new flair to some of the most popular modules in Ozone that people already love. So add some new, but enhance, the tried and true. And so we took a look at Imager and also Maximizer. And I'll start with Imager. We redid the UI a little bit, added this kind of nice shadow. I'll just leave that off. Kind of a subtle little shadow in our vector scope there. We broke out Stereoize and Recover Sides. Stereoize was there before. This has two modes. We wanted to clarify a little bit that Stereoize actually only works when you're boosting the width of something. And then we added this kind of opposite type of control that is only available when you're reducing width. And we call it Recover Sides. Let me open this up because I need a little bit of a visual metaphor to make this. This is my Recover Sides analogy. Okay, so imagine, and you can still see this, right? Because I shared my whole desktop.
We can, yep.
Sick. So when you are using the Imager and you don't have Recover Sides, or you're using the old Imager, when you're taking this width and you're reducing it, think about it like this. You've got your stereo image out in front of you in your speakers. And when you reduce that width, it's almost like you are just fading out everything that is not the mono signal. Right? So you're taking all of that stereo information there, and you're just fading it away. Let's listen to what that sounds like. So there's like some stereo guitars happening, like the keyboard is sort of centered but spread across the field, and you're just fading that all out. Now when I turn Recover Sides on, and then I turn this down with Recover Sides on, what you're doing is more like this. You're taking this entire stereo image and you're collapsing it. But you're actually keeping everything that was in the stereo image in there. You're just narrowing it. And so now let's listen to that, and I'm going to exaggerate it slightly. 6 dB kind of actually keeps everything in there. So now let's listen to that. So hear how the guitars are like still in there in the mono signal? And when now that I've spread it back out, it's like taking that entire stereo image and bringing it back.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Kudos to the research team on that one. Pretty neat.
Let's get some likes in the chat for the research team and that analogy. I watched your pre-release in-house videos, and I found that incredibly helpful. And that combined with the actual audio examples, I mean, it just hits it on the head exactly what it's doing, and it's doing a really good job at it, by the way.
Yeah, sweet. Good, I think so too. This one, I was pretty excited about this one. We also, this can be kind of subtle. I'm doing the most obvious example I possibly can, right? Full stereo width. And so this is often a lot more subtle, and for that reason we added this solo button. When you enable this solo button, it's almost like a delta, but what it's really doing is soloing the Recover Sides signal. Let me play what that sounds like. So what you're actually hearing is the side signal that has now been collapsed to mono. Those are the sides now in the middle. So we could, let me real quick show off a feature of the equalizer, why not? We could go mid-side equalizer and then solo the sides. So sorry, I just turned your head inside out. But that's the side. And then if we go and we collapse that with the Recover Sides, Now that's the side in the middle.
I need another graphic for that to be able to follow the path there.
Right. It's like some 4D chess kind of stuff. Like,
I think the most remarkable thing about it, though, is how it's listenable. Like, it's not a trash fire. What you've just done, you know what I mean? It sounds. It still sounds like you could listen to it and be fine.
right. And so more typically, you're setting up a couple bands. Maybe you're boosting the highs. People like to do that. Maybe you're stereoizing, maybe not. This is kind of a neat effect. Why don't I show stereoize while we're here? Stereoize is like these two modes are different. We added the second mode in Ozone 9. Let me toggle stereoize off and on. So now I'm just boosting the width. So mode 1 is a Haas effect. Mode 2 is this thing called velvet noise decorrelation, which is just a little bit of like a smoother kind of frequency change. That was off, so now it's off. Subtle effect just makes it a little more like cinematic and open sounding. Pretty neat. And then equal and opposite. You could be doing both stereoizing and recover sides, but you need to be boosting one band, reducing another. So, more commonly, people are looking at maybe a wide bass. Let me see how wide this bass is. Too wide, right? You don't really want that. And so bring this down, centering that low end. But if I unsolo, you can hear we're recovering some of that side information that was lost in the bass. So it's just going to be like a more powerful, deeper bass. Subtle though, right? So that's why we added the solo, so you can just know exactly what you're doing. While I'm here, you see these buttons up here? We got like little buttons all over Ozone with cool features that are just not in the default UI, and so people kind of miss them. This is a correlation trace. So this thing right here is like the correlation up and down, and this is going to trace it. And so let's go back to just one band, and I'll show why this is useful. If I jack up the stereo width, look at that correlation now. We're actually getting into territory where we have more side information than center information, and that will all disappear if you're listening to it on like a mono Bluetooth speaker or something like that. And so this correlation trace view can help you kind of understand where to set this imager. And especially like if you have a track that is too wide, you should be looking to pull the stereo width down. This can clue you in on that. And then when you're pulling the stereo information down, you probably want to also look into this recover sides option. But this is too mono now, and that's totally mono, right? So we've pegged the correlation trace there.